interviews with them. There were over 80 or even over 90. And I haven't met even single refusal. I even was embarrassed because sometimes they show the gratitude to me that I came to them to talk, which is quite understandable because I was the person coming to them to forward the memory of their perished parents. So I have refusals from the NKVD children of NKVD officers. I made attempts to talk also with them. All of them refused without one exception.
Children of the police officers.
Excuse me?
Children of the police officers.
Yes, yeah. Yes. The hangmen, the oppressors, who were later becoming victims too. I got contact for 4 persons, thanks to Memorial. 3 refused, and Michał Polacek agreed. So on the exhibition you can see also this interview with him, very moving, very much telling. And in this part of the project, I also took, photographic portraits of these people, because they have this prevailing mood of deceived and marginalized lives. I call them the faces of hers of the Great Terror. And I believe they are images of their own right. The pain was accelerated by this fact they did not know what happened to parents. As you know from psychologists that nothing worse can happen to a human being than losing a beloved person and which perished. That you cannot make, one cannot make the funeral ceremonies, mourning, and getting acquainted with this loss. They were deprived of this, and this aspect is appearing in almost every interview, that this pain was alive till the end of their life, and they were 18. So, by the way, I started to work normal as I used to, so photo camera, and dictaphone. But after first 2 interviews, I switched to video recording because I realized how important is the emotion of these people. Many of you already saw exhibition. I don't know if you had time to look at the videos. There are 5-7 minutes excerpts from videos. I will show you just one example of this, what I said a moment before. Nelly Konstantinovna Kalinina. Her father was famous designer of aircraft designer. This is my picture, my portrait of her.
В Крыму, и папа должен был приехать. Я, чтобы папу не прозевать, я забралась на какую-то башню, куда вообще, ребенок еще маленькая была, мне, может быть, было лет 8. И я, чтобы его увидеть раньше всех, когда он пойдет, я сыпалась с этой башни, и я летела как реактивный снаряд, в общем, только к папе, к папе, к папе. Но его нельзя было не любить, это. Мама тоже его любила больше жизни, поэтому не умерла сразу. И вот 22 октября я тоже ходила, купила только 2 розы, всегда красные, потому что кровь у папы была, когда его убили. И кладу память на могилу. Страшно в этой стране. Я никогда не прощу.
eyewitnesses. Again, try to gather as far as possible comprehensive photographic evidence. I also photographed the private belongings of the victims who were dug out during exhumations in Voronezh town. And for me and for us, there are also a kind of eyewitnesses, silent eyewitnesses carrying a strong, powerful, emotional message, like women camp. However, this part is not shown in the exhibition. We have to resign from some directions. Okay, I came to an end, and it's time perhaps for a short sum up. So, Dominique already quoted this in her speech. I will do it again. The beginning of essay of Gertrude Lieberman, Image Maletou, written about 4 images, on the 4 existing images secretly taken in the Auschwitz 5 crematorium in 1944. And he wrote, "In order to know, we must imagine for ourselves. Let us not shelter ourselves by saying we cannot, that we could not by any means imagine. This is what happened to the very end. We are obliged to that oppressive imaginable." I quote it again because it is like, could be, of course it was in the context of Nazi crimes, but it was kind of credo for us also in this work, because we believe that as well as the first-hand written accounts and the work of historians, the image of Great Terror can provide an important stimulus for attempting to imagine unimaginable, or to be more precisely quoting the Lieberman, this oppressive imaginable. We are obliged to imagine in order to know. I'm grand, but please, assuming to your appreciation of my presentation and considering the particular nature of my subject, I would ask you to refrain from applause.
Thank you. Can I ask you, Tomasz, after meeting all these eyewitnesses, after spending years looking and finding these photos, meeting so much pain and seeing so much bitterness, how does that affect you? How have you been affected by working for many years for this project?
Thank you for this question. It's a very good question. I'm depressed. No, I'm not joking, no. It's very depressive. We work, it's the same considered Dominique, because you work on this for months, and you have constant, by your mind, you have constant touch with evil. You know, this was a horrible thing, the Great Terror. I talk only about statistics because this is the limits of this presentation, but all the worst things that human being can do, they were done there. Horrible tortures, raping women before killing, all. It was horrible. And of course, when you work for many months and years, and you look at these pictures, it, in a way, has an impact of your status of mind and mood.
So this deals with historical atrocities, historical terror and killings, but do you think that people that see your book, your exhibitions, can we draw conclusions about ourselves today as well? This is not a finished historical...
Again, a very good question, thank you. Yes, this is many aspects in this. Talking about Russia, it's disappointing, of course. All these efforts We used to say on the conferences in Russia, I mean we with Arseny Roginsky, that bringing this knowledge to the public is a serious important factor to build collective memory. We do efforts since 1990, so many years, and we see that we fail. 80% of Russian population support Putin in his Crimea war. And yes, and more widely, again maybe I will try to bridge to Fred and this what is photography, what is image making, and I tried to talk before my speech that perhaps one of the criteria, quite important criteria, is the objective for taking picture. Why? To photograph. Why to take it? What is behind this? Is it just snapshot or for memory for the family, or this has some different purpose? I believe that the definition of purpose of this picture, sincerely done by photographer, is one of the important criteria. Is it a photography or this is a pixel photography? Never mind what camera was taken. Also, image making could be also of analog. My background is that I was born in Polish Republic, People's Republic of Poland, in communist country, and well, I believe photography as engaged photography. When General Jaruzelski implemented martial law in Poland in December 1981, me and a group of my colleagues, photographers, we organized underground, clandestine photo agency, photographing, documenting social resistance against the terror of Jaruzelski. It lasted 8 years. It was called Dementi, Independent Photo Agency Dementi. And I believe the mission of this, what I'm doing, we took secretly pictures and smuggled them abroad or later bring to Reuters, to Warsaw, to show the world outside, because it was a strong blockade of information, of course, of Jaruzelski regime, what's going on in my country. That's why perhaps it brings me to the topics, and it's my question to you, to the topics of Gulag and Great Terror. To do such some kind of photography which has sense, that can, in a way, as a drop falling on the rock, can change this world for better. But frankly speaking, last years I have a serious professional crisis with this.
Because the drop doesn't make any difference? Or?
Seems that not. I mean, this what's happening now in Europe and United States. In Russia is terrible, is coming back to totalitarian dictatorship.
So what consequences or what effects has your book and your work? Has it had any effect on Russian society or certain groups?
It's going to be published in Russia. We show exhibition in Sakharov Center in Moscow. This is also the point. We talk about credibility of photography. There are many sincere photographers. There are, of course, also deceivers. But there are many motivated photographers who want to do this or other very important work. But the problem is transmission belt, where to present this work. The book was published in 5,000 copies in French language. We are very happy with this. And exhibition is traveling. So it has, we can at least have some hope that it has some sense in the bringing, first of all, I would even say in a mystical sense, the memory of these people who were perished and they were sentenced to perish. I am very glad and motivated that we do something against these barbarians, that we bring these faces. I have to tell you, by the way, that when we were making selection to the book, of course, as Dominique said, we have criteria, because we want to show the vast scope of the great.
Because there were rich people and poor people, academics and workers all together.
We have a limit of 60 images, so we have to choose. And this selection, despite of professional decisions, has also another meaning. Because when we deselect someone, for this or other reason, I have the feeling we have very personal approach to these pictures. the prison portraits, because we worked very long for them and we saw hundreds of them. When we deselect someone, I feel like that I am sending him back again for oblivion, forever.
You have the chance to take him out into the light and you put him back into the darkness.
Yeah. But this is talking about emotions engaged during this work, what you provoke with your question, what are the feelings. I can say you that with Dominique we have our favorites, our beloved. In this
certain persons.
Yeah, like today shown by me, this 20 years old student of history, Makarov Wolf.
Why him?
I don't know why him, but I had an empathy to him, very strong. And when I was in Moscow, I go to the building where he was arrested, because we have addresses where they were arrested. Excuse me, I will go now of the back. Oh. This I did not want to extend my talk too much, but this is one more thing I did in Moscow. I go to these addresses. Sometimes it was possible to find them, sometimes not, because of changes of urbanism and so on, and photograph the places they were taken. So the person who is appearing on the cover of the book, Alexei Grigorovich Zheltikov, the worker of Moscow subway, he lived on this building, in this staircase, in apartment 41, and 8 July he was brought down for his last trip.
Does any one of you have any questions or comments? Yes, please.
I was wondering...
We'll try a microphone here so everyone can hear you. Jag tar den röda som heter nummer 2.
Yes.
In Spain, there has been this big movement to exhume the remains of the people killed by the fascists during the Spanish Civil War. And I'm wondering why there are so few places in Russia where they actually have been exhuming the bodies, trying to give them back to the families, doing DNA and so on.
I'm very sorry, I need to ask you to repeat the question, for I was far and I could not...
Okay, in Spain, there has been this big movement about opening grave and exhuming the bodies from the people killed by the fascists during the Spanish Civil War. And I'm wondering why there is only this one site in Russia where this has been happening.
Well, I'm puzzled to answer you. First thing is surely the historical policy of the Kremlin. As Dominique mentioned today, they don't want to underline these black cards of their history. So there isn't any policy of the Russian government. Even if they do now in Moscow, they want to erect, and soon will be open, the monument for the victims, which is put in order. He decided to do this. But it is not really... there are two competing memories. It's memory of terror, Stalinist crimes, and memory of the victory of Second World War and other victories of the Soviet Union and Russia before. And of course, for the rulers, they promote the image of Russia as a great, always winning country. And what is perhaps different to Spain or other countries, the rulers, they have great support of society. Russians identify themselves with victory of Hitler on the war, and they don't really want to know much about this horrible past they have behind them. There are two competing memories, and they can't exist till now together in the public space, public opinion. That's why perhaps they don't make these exhumations. And another thing I am risky to say, I'm not sure, because I observed the difference in the culture of treating the dead people in my country and in Russia. But in this I'm not expert, I'm not going to.
Do we have any Russians here? Because I know there are several Russian photographers participating in the festival. Nobody from Russia here now wants to comment?
I'll
Okay.
make a comment.
Sure.
I lived in Vladivostok for
Hey, please send this over for the microphone.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so I lived in Vladivostok for 6 months, and then I went back the following year for 6 weeks, and I was teaching, and I was on grant, making my own work, and I met hundreds and hundreds of people, and I asked everyone the same question: what is your opinion of Stalin? And I would say 99% of people said that he was a great leader and he was a great man. And I'm not exaggerating.
And the problems of memory of crimes, totalitarian system, is brilliantly explained. Today's problem in Russia, brilliantly explained in the preface to the book by Arseny Roginsky. He explained all these very complicated matters, why it is so strange for us. And, one thing I already said, these competitive memories, and the memory of victory is winning is very powerful, useful for the power, because it gives identity for the nation, and is accepted without critical view by majority of society. Another thing is, and which anyway is a consequence of this. In Russia, I was asked by journalists after press conference, did you have any problem to take pictures and to investigate this problem, this topic in Russia? No, any. There is no taboo. There is no taboo anymore. There is no censorship on this